We're talking to Mr. Roland Jones, and the topic is establishing a minority national franchise. And of course, Mr. Jones, you were giving us some information relative to your entrance into McDonald's, out of all places, to talk about entering as an African American. And let's follow it up with some of the relationships that you formed in reference to being able to expand out from there.
Well, certainly I had a relationship with the founder, Ray Kroc, as I mentioned earlier, and he really was a role model for me because of his business principles and his focus on service. I mean, this is where, in particular in franchising, it's important to understand and know that life is an exchange of services, and franchisors have a responsibility to give service to their franchisees who are their customers. And the franchisees have a responsibility to give service to the customers that they come in contact with. So it's all an exchange of services. The more service everybody gives, the more successful everybody is. And that I learned that from Ray Kroc. This man was a guy that pull up in a chauffeur-driven car, and you see paper on a lot, and he'd pick it up.
There was nothing beneath him in terms of giving service.
Nothing beneath him in terms of giving service. It was all about making somebody's life better. And as a result of that, that kind of thing created a culture in the system. And I learned, of course, from that. You know, I never today walk by a piece of paper unless I pick it up. And it's from that culture itself is where the knowledge base was built and the instincts were developed. And as far as the franchise part of it, I learned the role of both sides, the franchisor side and the franchisee side. And as a result of getting into the details of that, I was able to identify some advantages and disadvantages of both.
Both sides.
Right. Now, there is a conflict. That is that the franchisor take that money off the top line, off the sales. The franchisee takes money on the bottom line, for what's left. That's a slight conflict now, but good franchisors do a good job of not allowing that to interfere with the overall package being good. Every franchise we see, there are some advantages and disadvantages to it. And everyone has that conflict, and how well they manage that conflict has a lot to do with the success of both. And as far as the individual goes, if you're talking about buying a franchise.
Exactly. Is that what you do? Do you buy them?
You buy a franchise. Actually, you buy the franchise, which gives you the rights to use that system. That's when you are a franchisee. And that right expires after a certain period of time. And of course, it has to be renewed then. And you also have the right to use that name, to use that operating system, and you have a community of resources available to you among your fellow franchisees, as well as those from the franchisor. Now, when you start talking about national franchises, you know, they get in fewer and fewer, and there's fewer and fewer of those. A lot of them are regional now. A lot of good ones out there, and a lot of bad ones out there too. And I have learned over those years how to evaluate franchises and franchisors in terms of who is a fit for a certain franchise, and whether that both it's got to be a fit for both parties. In other words, some people think you buy a franchise, you make money. That is not true.
Very good.
I mean, you have to give of yourself. The franchisor have to give of you to help you do it, but the franchisee has got to do it. And do I recommend franchises? And do I recommend franchises? Yes. Because as you often hear, you're in business for yourself and not by yourself. But for those people who think that they are independent business people and want to be independent business people, franchise is not the way to go.
Okay.
You know, like for example, when I was a McDonald's franchisee, if I wanted to lose my franchise quick, I could start selling fried shrimp, for example.
Fried, okay.
I mean, I'm just saying you got to stick to the system, right? So there are certain there's certain things that you have to do that are uniform with the system, and the system itself is very important because you got people doing the same thing, same ways, and you able to not only leverage methods of doing things, but you have an opportunity to leverage purchasing resources, advertising, marketing resources. You know, you have a lot of people you can call and say, hey, look, how about this? How about that? You know, you have this problem. Somebody has had the problem you have had. Now, all franchises are not well capitalized. They don't have the quality of people to provide the assistance. They leave you hanging out there. They get your money, and you out there alone. All you guys are named, and the name doesn't have any value if they're not doing it the right way.
It doesn't have any service behind it.
That's exactly right.
If it doesn't have any
service behind it, the name has no value. And people have to, I think, have to really take the time to research what that franchise has to offer. And whether they have the financial resources, whether they have the human resources, and the kind of standards they have. And talking with people that are in that business and know that business, and have had the experiences in there, those are the people that can help make that decision as to whether you want to be in a franchise or not. Now, the people that the franchise are refer you to are good to talk with, but you have to seek out and find someone to talk with you on your own, because the franchisor's interpretation may be a little different
than the franchisee. Very good. And of course, we're getting ready for this second commercial break. We've got about 20 seconds before that, and when we come back, we'll have about 10 minutes, and that'll give you an opportunity to elaborate upon some of the things that we're talking about, and perhaps I might even suggest that what might be considered an average price that you think about when you talk about buying perhaps a McDonald's franchise, you know, as speculation. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. The topic is establishing a